ticking when I was aged 10. And sympathy wasn't much shown back then from neither teachers nor pupils in school, who consequently were often quite cruel, especially the bullies. And as such, I, who was more naturally a soft touch, had to be someone I wasn't each day in order to keep the tough kids at bay. My parents both were naturally concerned, perplexed as to why I'd suddenly turned abnormal. Mum, near the point of despair, took me to a hospital in Romford where a doctor efficiently, clinically established I was in physically tick condition, but should symptoms persist, he suggested I see a psychiatrist. The mention of which filled me with premonitions of straitjackets and asylum admissions. One must remember, the 1970s was a time when mental illness remedies were very much in keeping with one flew over the cuckoo's nest. The common view of psychiatry was positive nigh never, and I inwardly vowed to do whatever it took to avoid it. But what could I do? At 12 years old, I'd been ticking for 2 years, and for all the torment, it had become a part of me, like a finger or a thumb. It was as if I not only couldn't stop, I didn't want to, and hence wouldn't. But somehow I had to rein the ticks in, or else I'd be sent to the loony bin. One fateful day, I, having randomly embarked on a mindless scrawl, suddenly found myself writing everything in rhyme. And later, it occurred to me, at no time whilst I was writing or considering what to write, always with rhyming in mind, not once did I feel the urge to tick. Thus, by chance, I'd found a tick other than Vitus's dance. And it wasn't long before I could talk without barking uncontrollably and walk without dancing spasmodically, merely by thinking in rhyme. Those closest to me marvelled upon the change, and best of all, Mum never gave the psychiatrist a call, and the bulk of the bully boys let me be, thanks to the ticking rhymes they couldn't see. Now, 50 odd years later, and ticking still, I'm often these days on a poetry bill, and though I'm not really much of a poet, if my rhyming ticks entertain, so be it. Poet or not, I'm very much content, and if the ticks aren't exactly God sent, in light of my thinking and writing in verse, I figure them more a blessing than curse. Thank you. Right, this is called Pirates of the Gulf of America. 80 killed at the King's behest. Yo ho ho, and a barrel of oil. Dictators under close arrest. Yo ho ho, and a barrel of oil. Kidnapped by the Sunspear crew. Congress perplexed, they had no clue. Long Don Orange came rolling through, staked his claim on the crew black gold. For a profit it will be sold. Whoever thought he'd be so bold? International law he broke. Yo ho ho, and a barrel of oil. Everyone knew, but no one spoke. Yo ho ho, and a barrel of oil. Fishermen, drug dealers died. Epstein's treasure's been swept aside. All those secrets he raced to hide, leaving chaos in his wake. Venezuela was a piece of cake. A Russian tanker he will take, declaring war upon the Danes. Yo ho ho, and a barrel of oil. Europe won't match his ships and planes. Yo ho ho, and a barrel of oil. There's no more NATO anymore. Taiwan will be Chinese for sure. Russia's knocking on Poland's door. And if that don't make your blood boil, then doff those hats of shiny foil, and all the MAGA flags uncoil. Long Don's coming to take this soil. Yo ho ho, and a barrel of oil. Thank you. First off, basically in Colchester, I was walking through a graveyard, and I see this old boy sitting there, right? He's about 80 years old. He's got this fucking Mohican haircut, like orange and that. He's sitting there on the old fucking smoking roll-ups, drinking strong beer, and he called me over for a natter, and I thought, well, I ain't got nothing better to do, so I sat down and listened to him, and he basically told me his life story. So I wrote it down, and I've called it The Last of the Mohicans. Walking through the churchyard, I saw him there, an original man beyond compare, an ancient eccentric with a mohawk, a pensioner punk who wanted to talk. He asked me if I cared to share a few roll-ups and cans of lukewarm special brew and listen to a serious matter. So I sat with him and heard his patter. He said he was a Ted in '56 when Rock Around the Clock was at the Flicks. He had a flick knife, and during the show he slashed the seats at the Trocadero. In the early '60s, he was a mod, a pill popper, immaculately shot on a Lambretta going up and down, fighting with rockers in a seaside town. In the late '60s, he found a guru and went to a commune in Kathmandu, but it was run by a fake millionaire. So he came back home, shaved off his hair, and in the process became a skinhead. Moon stomping with rude boys, Jamaican bred. Skins in the '60s, he said, were cool cats and only very rarely racist twats. He was a star man in '72 when Bowie finally made his breakthrough, but when the dark side of the moon appeared, his taste in music went deeper and weird. He grew his hair longer, became a freak, saw Hawkwind and Genesis reached their peak back in the day when they were worth seeing, before the Pistols came into being. The filth, the fury, Mary seen red, the established sounds dying out or dead. He adopted a chain from ear to nose and a declaration, anything goes. He was a punk till around '84, when the old romantics became a bore, and for want of something better to do, he found consolation in sniffing glue. In '87, he rapped with a mate before acid tricked him into a state of ecstasy with new drugs to consumers. DJs scratched and pumped up the volume, and in that smiley face, he changed his name, Chingachgook, the chief of Mohican fame. He reached a peak, and he had it in mind that he was unique, the last of his kind. Britpop was hardly a sensation. He felt it to be an imitation, a knelling bell to the finality and demise of originality. The scene petered out. Like a dying flame, 20 years went by, no eras came with nothing but more of the same in sight. He aimlessly drifted without a light, up shit creek with no paddle or canoe, drowned into the sound of Radio 2, trapped for an age in a digitised grave of Britpop, house, metal mud, punk and rave. And that was it. He had no more to say. Silently he sat as I walked away, leaving him staring blankly into space, or maybe some other faraway place where out of the blue comes a sea of change that's against the grain and feels a bit strange, unconventional, untraditional, alternative, cool and original. Chingachgook, the unique, the peerless one, looked tired and jaded by the time he was done, and all his anecdotes are written here. Complete with glue, acid, roll-ups, strong beer and the thoughts of a man long in the tooth, offering an observational truth. DJs and bands, they're playing nothing new. A watershed movement is long overdue. Thank you very much.
Very good. Come on.